if whoever's seen this demo last a few weeks ago, this demo allows you to interact with any AI model using Orchard. This module is not in the Orchard core repository. You can actually pull it here. There is a NuGet package available out there that you can utilize. So you can try it out if you want to try it out. This is the package right here. I just actually released beta 2, which has a lot more providers and a lot more improvements. So what I did is first, now when you enable the feature, we have many features depending on the implementation you want. But in this case, you'll have artificial intelligence menu, and under there you'll have profiles and deployments, and then your chat profiles. So profile, the idea behind the concept here behind the profile is that you can define any profile you want. You can using, as you can see here, many providers and many sources to create your own profile. If you want Azure OpenAI, Azure Inference, Azure OpenAI with search, DeepSeek, Ollama, OpenAI. You can use any of these sources to create a profile. If you create here, you can specify the name, technical name. You can select different deployment if needed. You have 3 different types: chat, utility, and template generated prompt. Chat will provide you a way to create a full-blown chat. Utility will allow you to do things like, I just want one response. Like you can use this for like a workflow. And this one allows you to generate like a summary of your session or something like that. Anyway, so here you can configure everything about the model. You can put the system message, you can specify anything you want, all the parameters are available. So you can define your own profile. And then another option here, when you have a chat, there's another option here. It's called show on admin menu. See, this goes away if you select different option. But this allows you to list it here, which kind of makes it nice and easy because you can just click on whichever profile that you want and you can just directly chat with it. So I previously made some chats here so you can see my interactions. And you can, create a new chat and just type in whatever you want and respond. This chat is utilizing the OpenAI or Azure OpenAI. And this one is utilizing DeepSeek. So you can actually utilize DeepSeek to interact with this. There's as you saw earlier, there's a lot of providers because if you look here, you'll see under artificial intelligence, you'll see a lot of features. These 3 right here are like primary features, and then you have implementations. You have here's all these implementation that you can utilize to interact directly. The cool thing is that I added the support for multiple connections because sometimes you have multiple connections for the same provider. Like for example, if you're using DeepSeek, you might want to have 2 services, like one go into one model and then the other go into a different model. You can do that. For Azure, sometimes you have multiple services on multiple different accounts that you might want to connect to. So with this setup, you're able to do everything like that. And these are all the providers that are currently available right here, all of them. You have implementation, as long as you configure it. You enable the feature. Well, these all you have to enable the features for them. So each one belongs to a different feature. So you enable the feature and then you use it. For Ollama, I created it for local deployment only or development only. And I also added a project in the solution with Aspire. So I can actually enable the Ollama locally here and just run it. So as you can see here in this project, I have Ollama module or model. And then I even have ready service enabled. And then I configure the connection here for my local Ollama model, and then I can interact with it for testing purposes. So Yeah, so this is it. So this project is really almost production ready. It's not 100% ready, but um, it's there. I'm using it in production. I'm testing it myself. So if anyone is interested in using AI technology in Orchard Core, please try out this module and let us know. Hopefully, it's good. If you have any questions, comments, please share.
I'm just looking at the Aspire code. I don't care about the rest.
What?
I'm looking at the Aspire integration. I'm not looking at the rest.
Come on, this is the boring stuff.
No, it's interesting to see what you did because I try to do the same thing with different goals, but uh, like how
Is there
could
a
it
way
be?
a better way to do this?
No. I mean, I found some flaws in Aspire, like things to improve to make it easier in Orchard, and also in Orchard to work well with Aspire, like because like how to make like imagine you have a Redis, okay, which you use, but how do you integrate it with Orchard? You see, you have to bind the environment variable with a connection string that you set up. The goal of Aspire is that it gives you the connection string for Redis. So ideally, you wouldn't have to type localhost hello admin true. You have to say, give me the connection for this. And ideally, you will not have to tell what environment variable it is. You should just say, like, hey, Orchard, use Redis. This is use Redis, called Redis, the variable. And then it should find it by itself, ideally. Or Orchard should be able to read the environment variable defined by Aspire or the client integration defined by Aspire to do that. So
I agree with you. Um, but looking at the configuration in Orchard, you would have to provide an endpoint. Well, in this case, I have an endpoint, but in here, like for Redis, you still have to have an endpoint. You can't. I haven't tried it. You can't put the name of the connection. Like you can't put
no,
Redis in here.
no, there is no magic, right? So when you
Yeah.
if you want, so if you don't have Orchard and you want to integrate Redis with Aspire, in your application, you first you point to the Redis integration package, and in this package you say add Redis client. Okay, so add Redis client comes from a specific package from Aspire that knows what environment variable to read or what configuration to read, and will inject a Redis client. So there is no magic here. In Orchard, we should have like a package for Aspire, maybe that says add or integrate with Aspire, but then we would have to call it for Orchard. So maybe it's the opposite we need to do here is just say with when in your code here you have line 11 Redis add Redis, maybe we should say dot configure for Orchard, and then automatically it will generate the environment variable that matches for Orchard and will take the connection string to put it inside the environment variable. Just one idea.
Yeah, that would definitely be nice because this way you don't have to monkey around with setting the variables here.
Yeah.
But
And you have enough knowledge yourself to know what to do. But but yeah, so even myself, I will be like, okay, how do I integrate that? Like, okay, maybe there isn't a setting in Orchard that I can set, and then oh, but settings in .NET you can set them as environment variable. Oh, let me rebuild. See, like the underscore and all these things. Like it's knowledge that you have to acquire, so it's not easy to be able to do that. And then here is just a simple connection string because it's Redis. Now, let's say you want to integrate with managed identity on Azure because you use Azure storage and you want to use that in Orchard and you want to use managed identity. How do we do that? Like, yeah, the Spire can do that. Orchard maybe can do that. How do you link them together? It's not easy.
yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I spent a lot of time trying to figure this out when I did this
And,
a while ago.
and that would
Yeah.
be great, right? Like just Redis because it's one of the main extra service, microservice that we would use in Orchard. But then all the Azure stuff, all the things we can, like authentication stuff, that would be great to be able to set up all these things from Aspire, and then we just play, start F5, and then all these things boot up, Orchard boots up, and everything is configured, and you can play locally with that and then deploy it later if you want, but at least play locally with authentication, with AI, with Redis, with Azure, all these things. So
Is there a reason why we don't have an Aspire web project in Orchard? Like, I mean, for me in this case, I have two startup projects. One of them is Aspire, and the other one is my regular web. Is there a reason why we should have the same thing in Orchard?
We could, but what would we put there? Because it's very
very minimum Redis.
Why?
Well, because like if you were doing some testing, let's say locally, and you want to integrate to Redis, you don't have to put an actual connection. You can just run, for example, that. If you want a database integration, you can just configure it.
Yeah, and maybe we want to add like the UI for MySQL, I mean, I don't know, or PGSQL, whatever. And so it's a lot of ifs. And you see the CMS.web, it has nothing. It just say use Orchard, and then the setup will do the rest. But if you say set up SQL Server and you didn't provision a SQL Server with Aspire, you see it's all ifs, you don't know yet. So maybe it should be a sample and not something in this solution, but maybe in the samples repo, something that shows how to use Aspire with Orchard. But still have
the one PR that's been sitting in Aspire for like a year.
Yeah, but when I mean in samples, in Orchard samples, not in the Aspire samples.
I see. Okay.
Because no, we can't depend on that, and also because, or maybe you want to have a one app host, but just I don't know for testing locally, not so people can change it. I don't know what to do, but if we need to implement stuff,
I think it's useful to have a project like this in our solution, that if one of us needs to run it, and because they need to test it with different services, then they're able to. I mean, it's not like we're going to create a NuGet package and publish it for it. No,
so but like a sample with a big comment at the beginning. Here, uncomment that if you want to do that, uncomment that if you want to do that, and so on. Like Redis.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't make it a sample. I would make it part of the startup.
Sure,
solution.
That's what I'm meaning. But okay, here, but with comments in the program CS, just to show all the things you could do with that project. Like if you want, imagine, you know that the CMS web, when we started, we could use SQL Server or PostgreSQL. So in the app host, we could have a section commented that says, if you want to use SQL Server, uncomment these lines. If you want to use Postgres, uncomment this line. If you want to use Redis, uncomment this line. Just to show all the methods that we have that can be used in Aspire to help people bootstrap.
And maybe with that, we can even have Aspire.extensions project for us, where we can just write, like you mentioned, extension, where it takes, like you just said, basically, so the environment variables. So we can have a base project for extensions, and then this project will be like the web. And then, yes, we'll have comments. If you want to use this, then use this, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
That's the only reason why I think we could have the app host in this solution. If we also had a project in the solution that would do the extensibility with Aspire, and the glue between Aspire and Orchard, so it's easy to integrate. Cool. And then because Aspire also has some OpenAI support here, we are not using that. I don't think. Yeah, you do the .add Ollama. Okay, there is this one at least. That's why you use that Aspire also, probably, because it's there for you, so you don't have to care.
Which one?
Add Ollama. Like, if you didn't have Aspire, I don't know what you would do. I have no idea.
Yeah, you would have to probably download the Docker image and run it, and then connect to it. It just with Aspire is much easier. That's why do it this way.
Yeah, same thing for OpenAI. Add Azure OpenAI, add OpenAI, and then you tell which model you want, and boom, it's done automatically. And it will deploy it also automatically.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. That's great. Great.
And one other thing about the AI module that I'm using the new extensions that Microsoft has tipped, called AI extensions. So it's very extensible. Oh, and then another thing I forgot to mention, the workflow. You can actually use workflow.
Yeah,
You
because
can
that
add
last
a
demo, that's
task.
what I asked you, right?
Correct. Yeah. So here you can just, click and then select which profile you want to execute or run, and then you can even put the prompt liquid template, and then it will store it into the workflow, and then you can do whatever you want to do with it. You can actually generate those through workflow. So that's another thing. And there's a way to deploy using older navigation here, but you can also deploy your deployment or the profiles, and then also there's a recipe to import them as well. So there's a lot of integrations with Orchard that this module provide, which is really cool because it's really simple that you can just have integrations. And last week we've seen the widgets where you can actually use the widget on the front end. I don't know if I have it here. No, I didn't add it. I don't know. I thought I added one somewhere. Anyway, so yeah, you can also use widgets to put chat on the front end if you want. So cool.
Awesome. Thank you.